Up until now, we've been seeing mostly red mangrove trees. That's what these trees are here, that have all of those roots at the base. But over here to our right, you can see a cliff. And when we get closer, you're going to see just how special this place is. We are here at the Calusa Shell Mound, and in just a moment I'll turn the camera around so you can see just exactly what it is we're looking at. And this is an accumulation of shells from the meals of the ancient Calusa Indians. This entire cliff that you see here, these were all shells from the meals of the ancient Calusa Indians. They would eat the oysters, the whelks, the clams, the conchs, and then they would use the empty shells from their meals and pile them up in what's referred to as a shell midden. And this way they had high ground during the summertime storms. And very important here in South Florida to have high ground during the storms. Now, quite often, as I'm walking along on this little ledge at the bottom, quite often I'll see pieces of pottery from the ancient Calusa. I'm going to see if I can spot any right now. Let's see. I'm going to pull the boat over a little bit. Let's see what I can find. Sometimes you'll actually see the pieces of pottery embedded within the shells. Now, one interesting thing about this pile of shells is that there are a few layers, like you see right here, where there are tiny little bits of shells, and that layer continues. Just like in paleontology, they have the KT boundary, where the dinosaurs were below that boundary and no dinosaurs above the boundary. Well, my opinion of this boundary here is this is evidence of an ancient hurricane. There's one here, and about a foot below it, there's another layer just like it. And a foot below that, another. So that's quite possibly prehistoric records of hurricanes that took place in this location. So I'm looking for the pieces of pottery, and I'm not getting lucky so far. Oh, there's one right here. Here it is right here. Now, I might be the first person in 2,000 years to touch this piece of pottery. You can be number 2 and number 3.
So lucky.
And the Calusa would dig up the clay at low tide right here out of the water. And then they would drain the clay until they could shape it into a pot. And then to fire the pottery, they didn't have kilns. So they would take the pot after it was dried in the sun, and they would set it in a campfire and put hot coals inside of the pot. So it had heat outside and inside, and that's how they fired their pottery. That's the reason most of the Calusa pottery is black, like you see here, and very porous. And you can just see the hint of curvature in the pottery right there. Sometimes when I find pieces of pottery, you can see marks on the inside from the fingers of the person that made the pot. This one doesn't have that, but I'll just take a quick look and see if there are any others. By the way, if you are in Everglades National Park and you find something like this, get pictures and put it back.